Stick Man by Julia Donaldson, illustrated by Axel Scheffler, published by Scholastic Children's Books. Stickman lives in the family tree with his stick lady love and their stick children 3. One day he wakes early and goes for a jog. Stickman, oh Stickman, beware of the dog. A stick, barks the dog, an excellent stick, the right kind of stick for my favorite trick. I'll fetch it and drop it and fetch it, and then I'll drop it and fetch it and drop it again. I'm not a stick. Why can't you see? I'm Stickman, I'm Stickman, I'm Stickman, that's me. And I want to go home to the family tree. A notice says, dogs must be kept on the lead. At last the game's over and Stickman is freed. He sets off for home with a hop and a twirl. Stickman, oh Stickman, beware of the girl. A stick, cries the girl with a smile on her face. The right kind of poo stick for winning the race. Has everyone got one? Get ready to throw. It's 1, 2, 3, into the river they go. I'm not a poo stick. Why can't they see? I'm Stickman, I'm Stickman, I'm Stickman, that's me. And I'm heading away from the family tree. Stickman is floating. He floats on and on. Stickman, oh Stickman, beware of the swan. A twig, says the swan. This twig is the best. It's the right kind of twig to weave into my nest. I'm not a twig. Why can't they see? I'm Stickman, I'm Stickman, I'm Stickman, that's me. And I long to be back in the family tree. The nest is deserted and Stickman is free. He drifts down the river and sails out to sea. He tosses and turns till the frolicking foam washes him up on a beach far from home. Here comes a dad with a spade in his hand. Stickman, oh Stickman, beware of the sand. A mast, yelled the dad, an excellent mast. Hooray! There's a flag on our castle at last. I'm not a mast for a silly old flag, or a sword for a knight, or a hook for a bag. I'm not a pen, I'm not a bow, I'm not a bat, or a boomerang, no, I'm Stickman, oh Stickman, beware of the snow. Here comes a boy in a warm woolly scarf. An arm for my snowman, he says with a laugh. I'm not an arm. Can nobody see? I'm Stickman, I'm Stickman, I'm Stickman, that's me. Will I ever get back to the family tree? Stickman is lonely, Stickman is lost. Stickman is frozen and covered in frost. Stickman is weary, his eyes start to close. He stretches and yawns and lies down for a doze. He can't hear the bells or the sweet singing choir, or the voice saying, here's a good stick for the fire. Stickman is lying asleep in the grate. Can anyone wake him before it's too late? He dreams of his kids and his stick lady love. Then suddenly wakes. What's that noise up above? It starts as a chuckle, then turns to a shout. Oh, ho, 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 I'm stuck! Get me out! A stuck man? A stuck man? Now who could that be? Don't worry, cries Stickman. I'll soon set you free. A scratch and a scrape and a flurry of suit. A wiggle, a jiggle, and out pokes a foot. A shove and a nudge, a hop and a jump, and Santa falls into the room with a thump. Stickman, oh Stickman, you excellent friend. Thanks a million, thanks without end. Then Stickman helps Santa deliver the toys to Fast Asleep Guild and to Fast Asleep Boys. Faster and faster they fly through the snow, till Santa says, "Only one chimney to go." Stick Lady's lonely. The children are sad. It won't feel like Christmas without their stick dad. They toss and they turn in the family bed. But what is that clattering sound overhead? Someone is tumbling into their house. Is it a bird, or a bat, or a mouse? Or could it, yes could it, just possibly be, "I'm Stickman, I'm Stickman, I'm Stickman, that's me, and I'm sticking right here in the family tree." The end. Superworm by Julia Donaldson, illustrated by Axel Scheffler, published by Scholastic Books. Superworm is super long. Superworm is super strong. Watch him wiggle, see him squirm. Hip hip hooray for Superworm! Help! Disaster! Baby Toad has hopped onto a major road. Quick, whatever can we do? Look, a super one lasso. The bees are feeling bored today. They need a nice new game to play. Cheer up, bees, no need to mope. It's Superworm, the skipping rope. Beetle's fallen in the well. Is she drowning? Who can tell? Not to panic, all is fine. It's Superworm, the fishing line. Then toads and beetles, bees and bugs, brother snails and sister slugs, Uncle Ant and Earwig Aunt, clap and cheer and chant this chant. Superworm is super long. Superworm is super strong. Watch him wiggle, see him squirm. Hip hip hooray for Superworm! The chant is carried on the air to Wizard Lizard in his lair. He mutters in his servant's ear, "Find that worm and bring him here." The servant crows black and grim. Everyone is scared of him. They all let out a fearful shriek to see their hero in his beak. The wizard waves his magic flower. "Now, Superworm, you're in my power, and you must tunnel, writhe, and coil to help to find me treasure in the soil." Superworm is very cross to have a lizard as his boss, but when he tries to slink away, the wizard's magic makes him stay. For days he tunnels, twists, and winds, but all the treasure that he finds is 2 small buttons, half a cork, a toffee, and a plastic fork. The wizard flicks an angry tail. "Have one last try, and if you fail, I'll feed you to find that treasure down below. I'll feed you to my hungry crow." The crow is flapping through the night. Everyone looks up in fright. They see him perch upon an oak and listen to his dreadful croak. "Superworm is good to eat. Superworm's a special treat. He'll be juicy, fat, and firm. Hip, hip, hooray for Superworm!" Action quickly at the double. Superworm's in frightful trouble. We must help him if we can. We must hatch a cunning plan. The garden creatures leave their home, carrying a honeycomb. They jump and fly and crawl and creep, and find the lizard fast asleep. They chew the petals off his flower to rob him of his magic power. The caterpillars fetch some leaves, while busily the spider weaves. The web is strong, the web is tough, the web is plenty big enough. The wizard wakes. "This isn't funny. I'm wrapped in leaves and stuck with honey." Then up the bees and beetles fly and lift the web into the sky. "This is the place. Then bang, crash, thump, the wizard's in the rubbish dump. And now from somewhere underground there comes a distant rumbling sound. The earth begins to heave, and then Superworm is back again. Superworm the swing, the slide, the hula hoop, the fairground ride. Superworm the belt, the hat, the crane, the train, the acrobat. Then toads and beetles, bees and bugs, brother snails and sister slugs, uncle ant and earwig aunt, clap and cheer and chant this chant. Superworm is super long, Superworm is super strong. Watch him wiggle, see him squirm, hip hip hooray for Superworm. The end. The Scarecrows Wedding by Julia Donaldson, illustrated by Axel Scheffler, published by Scholastic Books. Betty O'Barley and Harry O'Hay were scarecrows. They scared lots of crows every day. Harry loved Betty, and Betty loved Harry. So Harry said, "Betty, my beauty, let's marry. Let's have a wedding, the best wedding yet. A wedding that no one will ever forget." Betty agreed, so they hugged and they kissed. Then Betty said, "Harry, my dear, let's make a list." "Just as you say," answered Harry O'Hay. So they wrote down the things they would need on the day. A dress of white feathers, a necklace of shells, lots of pink flowers, 2 rings and some bells. Then Harry gave Betty O'Barley his arm, and the scarecrows set off on a hunt around the farm. They hadn't gone far when they spotted some geese. "Oh, geese, if you'll give us a feather apiece, you can come to our wedding, the best wedding yet, the wedding that no one will ever forget." "We will," honked the geese, and they each gave a feather. A spider friend offered to sew them together. "Hooray!" cried the scarecrows. They hugged and they kissed. Then they hurried back home and crossed dress off their list. Then Harry gave Betty O'Barley his arm, and they set off once more on their hunt around the farm. They hadn't gone far when some cows gathered round, and the bells round their necks made a wonderful sound. Ring-a-ding-ding, ring-a-ding-ding. "Oh, cows, will you please come and make your bells ring for our wonderful wedding, the best wedding yet, the wedding that no one will ever forget?" "Yes," mooed the cows, "we can tinkle our bells." Then a crab scuttled up with a necklace of shells. Some mice found 2 rings in a bin. They were certain the rings had belonged to an old farmhouse curtain. "Hooray!" cried the scarecrows. They hugged and they kissed. "Pink flowers are the only things left on our list." Then Harry said, "Betty dear, I can find those. Why don't I pick some while you have a doze?" Pink flowers, buzzed a big stripy bee. "I can find you a field of pink flowers. Follow me." So the bee led the way, and they traveled for hours, till they came to a field of pretty pink flowers. Harry stood thinking, "I won't pick them yet. I'll need to find water to keep their stalks wet." "Just follow me," croaked a lumpy old toad. "There's a lovely wet pool at the end of this road." They climbed up the road. It was terribly steep. "I'm tired," said the toad, and so they stopped for a sleep. Early next morning, they came to the pool. "This water," said Harry, "is beautifully cool, but now I need something to carry it in, a jug or a vase or a cup or a tin." "I think I can help," said a small squirrely snail. "I can show you the way to a very fine pail." So the snail and the scarecrow set off on their way, but the snail was so slow, it took more than a day. Betty was worried. "What's happened to Harry? Where is the scarecrow I'm planning to marry?" The farmer came by with a frown on his face. and he made a new scarecrow to take Harry's place. "Good day," said the scarecrow. "I'm Reginald Drake." He took Betty's hand and he gave it a shake. "Together," he told her, "we make a fine pair. You're really quite pretty, apart from your hair." Then he jumped in the tractor and told her, "Hop in. I'm a really fast driver. Let's go for a spin." But Betty said, "No, I must wait here for Harry. He is the scarecrow I'm planning to marry. We're planning our wedding, the best wedding yet, the wedding that no one will ever forget." Reginald laughed. "You'll be waiting forever. Forget about Harry, and bet he's not clever. I must be the cleverest scarecrow alive. I can sing lots of songs, I can dance, I can drive. I'm dashing, I'm daring, I'm cool as can be. I can even blow smoke rings, just watch me and see." And he took out a big fat cigar from a packet the farmer has foolishly left in his jacket. "But smoking is bad for you," Betty exclaimed. "Really, you ought to be feeling ashamed." "Don't be a fusspot," said Reginald Drake. "My smoke rings are staggering. Make no mistake." He struck up a light and he started to smoke, but straightaway started to splutter and choke. What happened next was completely unplanned. The lighted cigar tumbled out of his hand. It fell to the ground and it started fire. Betty screamed "Help!" as the flames flickered higher. But Reginald Drake said, "I'd better be off," and he bounded away with a terrible cough. Then suddenly, who should appear on the farm but Harry O'Hay with a pail in his arm. "Betty!" cried Harry, "my own future wife!" He poured on the water and saved Betty's life. They picked up the flowers, they hugged and they kissed, and they said, "Now that's everything crossed off the list." So Betty O'Barley and Harry O'Hay wed one another the very next day. And everyone, even the snail who was late, said, "Don't they look happy? Don't they look great?" This, they agreed as they sprinkled confetti on Harry O'Hay and his beautiful Betty, "is the best wedding ever, the best wedding yet, the wedding that no one will ever forget." The end. Zog and the Flying Doctors by Julia Donaldson, illustrated by Axel Scheffler. Published by Scholastic Books. Meet the Flying Doctors, a dragon knight and girl. Their names are Gadabout the Great, and Zog, and Princess Pill. Pill gives people medicine, and pills and vaccinations, and Gadabout is expert at performing operations. Zog is good at flying, though not quite so good at landing, but Gadabout and Princess Pill are always understanding. Flying high one morning, they heard a mermaid wail. "I'm sunburnt and it hurts," she cried, and swished her scaly tail. Bang, crash, thump, they landed. The mermaid's skin was red. Pill rubbed in some special cream. "And wear this hat," she said. "Thank you," said the mermaid, and she waved a fond goodbye as the team of flying doctors sped away into the sky. As the sun rose higher, they saw a unicorn. He pawed the ground and whinnied, "I've grown an extra horn." Bang, crash, thump, they landed. "I'll help you," said the knight, and he cut the horn off gently, to the unicorn's delight. "Thank you," said the unicorn, "for taking so much care," and the team of flying doctors sped away into the air. Halfway through the afternoon, they heard a lion sneeze. "I've caught the flu," the lion roared. "Could someone help me, please?" Bang, crash, thump, they landed. And Pill said, "Take this pill, and do keep warm. That's terribly important when you're ill." But the lion's cave was chilly, so Zog said, "Fetch some wood." Then he breathed out lots of flames until the fire burned bright and good. As evening fell, they saw a great big palace down below. "My uncle's house," said Princess Pearl. "Let's go and say hello." Bang, crash, thump, they landed. Pearl's uncle was the king. He didn't say hello. Instead he said, "You naughty thing! Where have you been?" he thundered. "You look an awful mess. What's happened to your crown, and where's your pretty frilly dress?" "But uncle, can't you see that I'm a doctor now?" said Pearl. The king replied, "Princesses can't be doctors, silly girl." He told his men to seize her and to lock her up inside. Princess Pearl was furious. She stamped and stormed and cried. Weeks went by, and Princess Pearl spent many weary hours sewing pretty cushions and arranging pretty flowers. The others tried to rescue her with all their might and main, but they simply couldn't manage. All their efforts were in vain. Each night they flew to visit her and perched upon her sill, and one dark night she told them that the king had fallen ill. The king grew worse. His head was sore, his arms and legs felt weak. His skin had turned bright orange, and he found it hard to speak. He called a lot of doctors, a new one every day. He croaked, "What is this illness?" But they simply couldn't say. They didn't know the answer, but Pearl was pretty sure. It looks like orange fever, and she read about the cure. Grated horn of unicorn, a mighty lion sneeze, some mermaid scales, a little slime, and 1/2 pound of cheese. She told the others what to get, and do be very quick. My uncle could be dying. He looks extremely sick. Away flew Zog and Gadabout. They reached the lion's den. Bang, crash, thump, they landed. He sneezed for them, and then they flew back to the forest, where the grateful unicorn was very pleased to give them his unwanted sawn-off horn. Back to the mermaid's rock they flew. She gladly gave some scales, and his sea snail friends allowed them to collect their slimy trails. Zog said, "I'm exhausted," but he flew and flew until, bang, crash, thump, he landed on the bedroom windowsill. Princess Pearl said thank you for the scales, the slime, the sneeze, and the horn, which then she grated up with 1/2 pound of cheese. She tiptoed to her uncle's room. The king lay in his bed. She held a spoonful to his mouth. "Now open wide," she said. After just one spoonful, her uncle felt much stronger, and after spoonful 2, he wasn't orange any longer. After spoonful 3, the king was dancing with delight. "Princesses can be doctors. You are absolutely right. I'm sorry that I locked you up. Of course you must go free. But do come back and visit me and bring your friends to tea." "Hooray!" cried Pearl, and out she ran to join the other two. Then off into the sunset sped the flying doctor crew. The end.